Ooh. Whoa. Ooh. Hey there. Hello, how do you do? My name is Harry Wetzel. Thanks for coming. It's the 80s, darling. Yes. It's 1986. February 1986. Late February 1986. Night. I'm standing on 98th Street, just off of Broadway. I'm standing in front of my apartment building. I'm holding all of my luggage from 2.5 months worth of greater tuna and everything that went with it. And I'm wearing a great deal of it because it's a lot easier to wear than it is to carry. Right. But it's winter, it's fine. And I'm standing there, looking at this beautiful building. And I'm like, tripping on hallucinogenic drugs. Because about 3.5 hours or about 4 hours ago, one of my dearest friends poisoned me with some purple microdot mescaline hallucinogenics. Yes, I don't hold it against him. It was a magnificent gesture. I'm having a wondrous time. And so I'm standing there in front of this building, and I'm like, let me see if I can see my window. And you can't, the way the building is shaped, you can't exactly see my window, but I'm like, that's my window, it's up there. And I'm like, my window is up there. That's my window. I live here. I live here now. This is my home. Now, for a lot of the time that I had lived in New York, it's 1986. I've been here since 1982. For a lot of the time that I lived here in New York, I struggled with, what am I doing here? I got jobs that weren't acting jobs. I came to be an actor. What am I doing here? I didn't feel exactly at home. I didn't feel like this was my home. I enjoyed it. It was hard, but I had a fantastic life. I mean, a great deal of fun, in addition to all the pain and agony and sorrow and misery. And so I'm looking at this building, and I'm like, this is my home. And I just went back to Michigan, which is my home, and I had an acting job. I didn't feel exactly at home there either. So I stood there in front of that beautiful building, and I just said, well, didn't see this one coming. Anyhow, so, you know what I do? I go right back on unemployment. Because Brilliant Harold from the Wintergarten told me, first thing you do is go right on unemployment. So I did. I went back to unemployment. I went back on getting the subway to the Cathedral Station up there to 140 whatever street. And I got on line C. And I picked up my check every couple of weeks. I was back on unemployment. Vampires on unemployment. I wrote a short story at the time. I was always writing. And I started to go back to auditions. And I started to do really well, really well. I worked hard. I had several auditions like I did before. I told you how I did it. I had several auditions on the subway ride down. I would decide which piece I was going to use, which dialect, which accent I was going to use, which two pieces, juxtapose the two. I'll do this one with a Brooklyn accent. I'll do this one with no accent at all. And I still haven't gotten a call back yet. I've been doing this for, well, I've been back in New York now for a couple of months, and I've been pretty good at my auditionings. When I got back, I said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go to an audition every day. Rain or shine, we're going to an audition. Well, here's the thing. There aren't always auditions 5 days a week. Or sometimes there are two that are at the same time as each other in different parts of the city. And another thing is, back in college, I could go to every audition and audition for the funny old guy or the 80-year-old monk. But now here we're in New York. I look like 20-something, pasty face, slightly pudgy, Caucasian And that's what I can audition for. Right. I'm not the funny old guy. They got real funny old guys here. They got real 80-year-olds. So it begins to get a hold of me, and I begin to get depressed. I still take an audition or so. I still find one about every week, sometimes two. But I began to take the advice of Franz Bieberkopf from the movie Berlin Alexanderplatz, the Fassbinder film. And Franz Bieberkopf started to drink warm beer in the middle of the day, in the middle of the afternoon. That's what I started to do. It seemed like, well, not like the best idea, but an idea. So I'm drinking my warm beer like Franz Bieberkopf. Hey, I'm still going to auditions. I don't mix booze and work. I told you I don't get drunk until the afternoon. One night, one afternoon, one evening, my beloved roommate, my wonderful roommate, Pamela, got a call from a friend of 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 hers, saying, do you happen to know anybody who doesn't have anything to do for the next 3 or 4 nights because we need an all-night door person, a door attendant, at this nice building over here at 73rd and Broadway? Well, I wouldn't be telling you this story if I didn't wind up going down there. Right. So she says, Harry, and I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And so I went down there to a place called Sherman Square Apartments on 73rd, just off of Broadway, just off of Sherman Park, which for a while was called Needle Park back in the 70s because of all the strewn about needles left over from the strewn about drug addicts. Yes, you remember the movie Panic in Needle Park? That's where it took place. Anyhow, it's a lovely building, Sherman Square Apartments. It's a 12-story building built sometime in the teens of the 20s of the 20th century. And it was, I think, built during the arts and crafts period. It's very lovely, somewhat ornate, and very stately and very regal. And also so is the clientele. The people who live there are very tightly knit. Many have been there for dozens and dozens or decades, dozens and dozens of years or decades, and here they are, a tightly knit family in this beautiful building. Well, I go in, and right away I meet Pilar, who is sort of the day manager of the building. And in walks Mr. Hughes, who is the superintendent of the building. And he's a crusty old guy, and she's a flamboyant, beautiful young woman. You know what I mean? In her 40s, a young woman in her 40s, and filled with life. And so is Mr. Hughes. He's like an old sea captain who runs this building. If a crusty old sea captain can have a sense of humor, that was Mr. Hughes. And we all got along very well right from the very beginning. They seemed to have faith that I wasn't going to run away from my post or anything like that. So Pilar and Mr. Hughes eventually took off, and 11:30 my shift started. It was a quiet night at the all night. The clientele is coming and going. Many of the people are like, oh, I don't recognize you. And I'm like, hi, how do you do? My name's Harry, I'm just filling in. People would be coming, they'd have their key. Oh, hi, I don't recognize you. And strangers would come in. Yeah, I need to see such and such in room such and such. And so I would call up. And it was very simple, just like that. And people came and go, and there was sort of it got a little bit more busy around 11:30, midnight. And then it trailed off, got a little bit busy at 2 or 2:30. Then came the doldrums. Then it's quiet. And that's what it's like until it's time for you to go do your chores. I had to pick up all the trash in the building, and I had to go and mop all the floors. It's not that big a building. It didn't take that long, but it was something you had to do. And so I did that at around 5:30. It only took an hour and a half to do all the mopping. Take all the trash and you bring it down the elevator. Oh, they had one of these old-fashioned elevators. You go and you pull the gate shut, and then you go, and then you're going up, and you're going up, and then you got to stop the thing. And then eventually, after working the elevator, it only takes a few tries before you get to be pretty good at it. Stop on a dime. So you go up and down the elevator with the trash and all that stuff, and then you find out, oh, there's a stairway around here, and it goes up to the roof. I'm gonna have to go out there. Not right now, though. I'm busy. And so that was my first day at Sherman Square.